Oh, he's headed down to the boom shot. He's got grenades. He's got grenades.
Right, I got grenades. I can't roll away from that.
Kill you.
Oh, you just got tagged!
Oh,
Got blown the fuck up!
Oh my god.
Hey, meet Tina, our new community manager.
Yeah, hey, how's it going?
Hey,
I blew that guy up. Yeah.
David?
Hey, yeah,
nice to meet you. I was watching you play grenade tagging's for noobs. Thought I'd tell you that.
Yeah. There you go.
Totally sucks.
Damn.
Nice to meet you.
Now you know.
Oh, hey, Tina, you're the new community manager, right?
Yeah.
I'm working on this user question video. Maybe you can come by and check it out.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
All right.
dope.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
All right, I'll come by.
All right, bye.
So I don't know how Skip does it with all these buttons. There's a lot of buttons. And
So did you finish your review yet?
Yes, I did.
What are you thinking?
There's a lot of great ideas, and most of them are a little bit clunky, but it's paced well. The story is like little bits are like delivered quick enough to like keep it moving nicely. There's a lot of variety.
My God, it looks like a war zone.
In the stone, and now it wants it back. What's with this fucking stone?
I haven't gotten too far into it yet. I'm curious to see where it goes from here. So far with the intro, with the first level, I love how immersive it is, and I love how just everything you do is to make you feel like you're part of that world. You know, like when you're opening a door, like it actually shows your hand opening a door or something, or like the way that you have to blink to like clear your eyes.
Right.
They have all this really cool stuff in there that's just meant that it's clearly just there to make you feel like part of that world. But then the actual gameplay, like the actual stuff that you're doing that's supposed to be challenging,
Right.
I'm not enjoying as much.
Yeah, and a lot of those mechanics like are interesting the first or second time, but then they just are kind of like thrown aside for like 5 episodes, and then like it'll come up briefly later as like an optional thing. So again, there's lots of ideas, but like they don't really take many of them to interesting places.
The combat especially, I'm really not enjoying it. I think it's because of the way that the control systems are set up, where you've got like this third-person view, but then there's like a first-person view kind of grafted on top of it.
It's weird because you can't. I mean, you can lock on and shoot from third person, but you can't like manually aim in third person. You have to go to first person to do most of your shooting. It's just a really bizarre thing. It would work like one way or the other.
And the other thing is that they make you go inside of your suit, like you open up your jacket,
Right.
and you're mixing and matching stuff, but then they don't pause the game for that. So there's times when you have to do that, like in the heat of battle, or at least when it urges you to.
Right. So that's one of those things that's like just not really in the service of good gameplay, even though it's cool in theory. But they do adjust to it somewhat, but that just results in the monsters being like twice as slow as they should be. Like, there's never really any foes you fight throughout the entire game outside of maybe bosses that are like quick and will come right at you and hit you. The other ones will like run up and try to hit you, but you can just like run away a little bit and then run away a little bit again. And you can just dance infinitely around these enemies, and if you run like 20 feet away, then you go in your coat and mix some shit up real quick and then come back. And it makes sense if you're hot wiring a car or you're messing with an electrical box to zoom into seeing your hands do it, like that's cool. But it's not what the Ultra Alone in the Dark games used to be, which is this kind of foreboding tension, and just like that mood isn't really there now.
The interesting stuff for me is like in the first couple of episodes anyways, when you're sort of navigating around this building that's falling apart as you're going through it, and you're climbing up walls and stuff, and they have some really interesting puzzles in there. But it's just like I said, when you get to that really just gamey stuff like combat, it feels like it's just tacked in, like thrown in unnecessarily.
The things you can do in the environment feel organic, but the way you do them like always feels very designed and very purposeful, and there's usually only one way out of a situation. But what did you think about the structure of like being able to skip between chapters? I mean, I don't know if you did it. I just played through linearly and then like checked out that functionality. But
I haven't used it much, but sort of like flipping through the guide and everything and looking around online and stuff, there are points where I want to go back right now and see certain things that I didn't try. Like, for example, I found out there's an achievement you can get if you play through the whole first level without blinking.
So because you're in achievement horror, that's why I'll use the...
Well, exactly. But I mean, it is really cool that you have that ability to just go back there. You don't have to start a new game necessarily.
Inside, I was connected to something. It spoke to me.
It's okay. It's over now. You're safe.
I could feel it.
How is the story? Because so far, the first couple of chapters, it's not embarrassing yet.
Yeah,
but it's not.
That's kind of the thing.
It's
one of those game stories that, like, thankfully, it's not like shamefully bad, and some of the voice acting's decent. Just kind of a throwaway love story in there. But like I said, just the pacing of it keeps the story moving, and what cutscenes there are decent. So it's you're not playing it for the story certainly, but it's not bad by any means.
Now, I think I read somewhere that this was actually, the game was made in the Test Drive Unlimited engine.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's the same developer.
Yeah. So, like, how is the driving in this?
I like the driving parts. Like, I could understand people being frustrated because, like, if you mess up right near the end, you do start right at the beginning. And I had to do that, like, probably 2 or 3 times on each one of them. But I didn't think it was too bad, and they're really well scripted. And it's like the first driving sequence is like escaping through like a New York around Central Park that's all collapsing. And it happens the same way every time, but it is well done. It's exciting. I will say too, it's later in the game, like around the 7th episode, like at the end of the 6th episode, I was like, all right, I'm on pace to finish it in so and so hours. But the 7th episode, the whole game changes, like structurally. It goes from being this very linear, like play through buildings, play through underground caverns, blah, 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 to being this big open central, like all of Central Park, and you have cars parked everywhere you can steal and drive around, and you have to go kill these evil roots, and you have to kill a certain amount of them before you can then get to the next like linear area to progress. And that part is big and open and takes a long time.
And is it fun?
I really liked it because that's when like all the organic like weapon mixing and all that comes into play the most, and that's when you got to like figure out these cool puzzle solutions. And it's just interesting that it felt like at one time the game was maybe all open like that and all third person, and then it turned into this like linear first person thing to kind of like wrangle it. I don't know. There's lots of those kind of like half-hearted design decisions here and there. But
let's talk about the puzzles a little bit, because I know when I saw you playing the game before I got my hands on it, you were calling it Fire Solves Everything the game.
Yeah. It's weird. You have to kill almost all the enemies. Like, you have to kill it with fire. You can like beat a guy with an like axe for like 20 minutes, and you're just gonna lie there and get back up eventually. And you have to shoot enemies like on these little fissures running through them. And later in the game, you get like some tweaks to your vision that make it easier to see the fissures. But if you don't shoot them in that fissure, they'll keep coming after you. And there's usually the game like does a good job of usually putting stuff nearby you that you need as far as supplies, but it also kind of solves puzzles too easily. Because with each individual element, there's a lot you can do with it. When the game gets open, especially later in the game, the puzzles like allow for you to experiment. Again, they don't really take the like fire propagation and all these cool tech things. They don't really go anywhere with it, but when they do use it, it's cool. It just kind of makes me want to see these used in a more focused game.
Yeah.
And I like it as an adventure game, but it's like there's no way you're playing this as a survival horror game.
So Jason, do you got that thing ready for?
Oh yeah, I'm working on it right now. You want to check it out?
Yeah, sure.
From the message boards right here, I got their picture and their profiles and stuff. And then I got their question right here. And you know what? This is kind of boring, isn't it? Here, I'll just here. Well, how about you just take a look?
All right. Cool.
Number 1.
So we went to the message boards and asked our readers if they had some questions for you guys for Gears of War 2.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, it's going to be scary. Some of these guys are tough, so... The Outer Limits wants to know, how do you plan on supporting the game after its release? Because Gears of War was riddled with exploits for months. So what are you guys going to do for Gears of War 2?
Well, we actually supported the game as far as tweaking and essentially patching up a lot of those exploits. Grenade tagging being way too easy was my fuck up, and I apologize for that one. Basically, grenade tagging was initially set to be a little bit too easy, and it never got dialed back, and we actually wound up patching that in. We patched in a couple tweaks to Roadie Run after the game shipped, and there's also weapon balancing things that you have to do. You do your best job at balancing a game before it hits store shelves using things like usability with Microsoft and whatnot, and things can slip through, and that's what title updates are for. And so you have a download, that is usually very quick for the game to update it, and you support it in that fashion and make sure that it's a well-balanced online experience. And then, figure out ways to have, cool downloadable map packs that sometimes are free and sometimes cost a fee.
This one's from Alchemist X. He wants to know, our Xbox 360 owner is going to get fucked out of level and bosses again when you do an inevitable PC port. He wants to know because if so, he's not buying Gears of War 2.
Oh, that's a valid question, and I can tell you that there are things in Gears 2 that will make the levels that were in Gears PC look like a day at the beach, and the product as it ships will very, very much be worth the price that it winds up costing. And we haven't said anything about a PC version yet, so I think if he's holding out when the game hits and he hears about all the amazing experiences people are having in the single player, the multiplayer, and the co-op, it's going to be hard for him to resist it.
This is from Brigit. He wants to know, is Epic going to fight the power and give us those maps and downloadable content free from day one?
Microsoft has a business model with Live, and if you look at where things like Steam and Live are going, a lot of gamers are becoming big fans of digital distribution, and this is very much a business model. In Gears 1, we actually had a multiplayer map pack that was sponsored by Discovery Channel and Future Weapons, and that was free for download. And then with some of our other map packs, we did charge a fee for a certain duration, and then after that it became free. It's kind of this early adopter tax that gamers can just wait. If they're willing to wait a couple months, they can absolutely get it for free, and that's the model that we generally tend to follow.
SoCal Gamer wants to know, Gears of War introduced a chainsaw bayonet. What new weapon combo will Gears of War 2 introduce?
We sat down to, talk about a lot of the new weapons that we put in Gears 2, and we had all these goofy ideas about, like, let's put a sander on a blender, and it all just felt cheesy, man. We feel like the Lancer, the bayonet, is our lightsaber. And we feel like anything else that tries to do that is just going to detract from the coolness of the chainsaw. So instead we decided to add all sorts of cool new weapons like the Scorcher, which is shaping up to be the best flamethrower that's ever shipped in a video game, as well as the amazing semi-automatic Gorgon pistol, poison grenades, weapons like that. And then let's take the chainsaw and do all sorts of fun new things with it, such as, have players dueling with it, have players chainsawing each other from behind and whatnot. And there's a fine line between weapons that are unique and cool and weapons that are just gimmicky for gimmick's sake. And I think as long as you can find a weapon that's effective and cool, such as the Hammer of Dawn, such as the Lancer, chainsaw, bayonet, I think you just kind of need to toe that line and be very careful. Otherwise, players can kind of smell when something's just cheesy and gimmicky, right?
No, but the Lancer, if someone told you, right, we're going to put a chainsaw at the end of an assault rifle, that sounds kind of gimmicky, it's cheesy.
Well, when I was pitching that to the other leads, they were like, well, is that really going to be the thing that separates the game? And in my gut, I was like, that sounds pretty damn cool. And I want to see somebody getting cut in half with that, because it always just seemed like a natural evolution of that weapon. And if you look at some of the things we're doing with, for instance, a flamethrower that you can then active reload and shoot further, there's not a lot of multiplayer games where you can physically grab a guy and take him hostage that aren't very stealth-based. And we're taking other elements of original shooter weapon and game design and kind of twisting it in the Gears universe.
Incoming frag!
Old School Gamer wants to know, are the hosting problems going to be fixed? He thought Gears of War could have been an awesome multiplayer game, but the lack of modes and extreme host advantage made it so he could never really get into it.
Well, I mean, there's several things. First off, we're shipping with, I think the current count is like 7+ multiplayer modes, and we're going to be shipping with, out of the box, more maps than what shipped in the original Gears. So if you do the matrix of game types that can play across all the maps, it's a pretty impressive grid. On top of that, we're doing a tremendous amount of optimizing of the netcode to make sure that only the crucial data that needs to be sent is sent, so that we have the smoothest online performance possible. And, there's other things we're doing as far as offloading the voice server in the game so that, one player isn't dealing with the bulk of having to play all those complaints and curses that come over Xbox Live through a narrow bandwidth essentially. So this is very much at the forefront of my concern as well as the programming teams, and we're going to make sure that it's a buttery smooth online experience.
Can you put like a percentage on that? Like we feel multiplayer Gears of War 2 will be this much better than Gears of War 1 in terms of performance?
Well, at this time frame right now, being 7 months from shelf, a lot of the optimizations that come online in the last few months. So I would wager that it will be better. I would say at least 30% better, if not more. And we're just getting better at using our own tools and optimizing what we send through the data stream.
Have you guys ever considered using dedicated servers to help offset that advantage?
We've considered it at one point, but it's one of those things that we want every player who has a copy of the game to be playing it with somebody else instead of just leaving, a PC or a 360 up in the background to play. We just feel like for the 360, it doesn't make a lot of sense to be doing that at this point.
But can't you guys host the dedicated servers?
We could consider that, but it's one of those can of worms we really don't want to get into. I mean, we're full up with every single last body that we have, getting ready to ship this product and dealing with UT 360 and everything else that's going on in the company right now.
All right, Invasion01 has a personal question. He wants to know, what kind of styling gel do you use?
What is it that I use right now? I think it's like some sort of like Redken stuff. It's just some sort of hair goo. It's definitely not semen.
You heard it here first. Tommy Atomic wants to know if you took notice of any of the ideas from Army of Two. For example, he said he'd love to see Gears with an aggro meter.
To me, that was the highlight of Army of Two, was the idea of taking that kind of, MMO aggro idea and extending it into the shooter space. One idea that they had implemented that we actually kind of had the same idea was the idea of portable cover. As far as, when you see the car, you can grab the car door and kind of use that. At the same time, we had a shield that we wanted to do that kind of deploys, and there's actually an enemy that uses that later, which we're not really revealing much about right now. And players can use that as portable cover to kind of go from point A to point B. So that's one thing that I think great minds generally tended to think alike with.
Going Commando 117 wants to know, will the multiplayer achievement format be changed this time around? Like, we used to have something like get 100 chainsaw kills in ranked.
We will still have achievements that encourage gameplay, such as getting a certain amount of chainsaw kills or executions, but we're going to throttle it this time to make sure that you only get one. If you get like one chainsaw kill in one match, it only counts 1 point towards your overall achievement. So you still have that sense of progression, but players generally tend to have a very kind of rat the feeder pellet mentality with achievements, whereas they say, this is the week when I'm going to get my grenade tag kill. And they don't really play the game just to play it. They wind up kind of, just focusing, laser focus on that one feature to the detriment of the game, whereas everybody's just grenade tagging and it doesn't even play out the way we had originally intended. So by kind of throttling that, we're going to encourage players, okay, I got my one chainsaw kill that counts, now I can just play the game a certain way. Or now I can go ahead and get that grenade tag that I wanted. They will cycle through the various weapons in the game instead of just focusing on that one thing, and that's the kind of gameplay we want to encourage. Then you get that kind of, achievement progress is a really great thing because you kind of get that meta RPG type wrapper of the game where you feel like you're contributing to an overall whole when you're online beating the crap out of people.
Paradox wants to know, is there a possibility of seeing some human enemies, such as Locust sympathizers?
Anybody that would want to sympathize with the Locust would probably kill. So I think the Locusts are so mean that they don't really need any help right now.
Esky514 wants to know, will we get to see who or what the Queen is? Is she really a Locust?
We've never confirmed or denied who that character really is that speaks in the voiceovers, so certain mysteries remain to be revealed in Gears 2.
I just know her as the one that scolds you if you lose in multiplayer, you know, as Locust.
She doesn't like failure, whoever this person is.
The Diabolical wants to know, with all the features that Bungie put into Halo 3, like recording your matches, and the perks that Infinity Ward put into Call of Duty 4, will Gears of War 2 have anything similar?
From the get-go, we're going to have screenshot taking, which will then be uploaded to a website that you can then rank and vote on and whatnot and share. Achievement tracking is our way of doing kind of a meta RPG style game. As far as kind of the RPG wrapper that allows you to essentially, get a new scope and whatnot, that's really not the kind of game we're playing. We want the players to be focused on different ways that they can execute other players, as well as, sheer map and game type variety for our multiplayer set. And there's also a couple things we haven't revealed yet you'll see here about later this summer.
So one of those things got to be video, right? Maybe we saw Halo 3 do it, where you could take video clips, and then in the debug kits we were playing with today, we didn't get the wording said some of the other players were watching a video, and it's kind of weird wording to pick. Like, so is that a feature in the game where you might be able to take video clips?
I can't confirm or deny anything like that at this time. Screenshots are definitely in.
My man D wants to know, there's an alligator and a crocodile. Would you rather have the alligator bite you or the crocodile? The answer to this will dictate whether or not Canada buys Gears of War 2.
Let's see. I'd have to go with the crocodile, because I believe the crocodile has a far friendlier smile and it looks like it would hurt less.
Do you have any idea what that question means?
I have absolutely no idea.
Great.
Cool.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I want to do some more stuff like this, like have more users ask questions, and we'll bring them to the developers and they'll answer them.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's a great way to get them involved. All right, see you later, Jason.
See you later.
Bye, David.
Community questions for noobs. Said it, guy.
Behind you!
Dodge! More enemies! Nice one! Keep them away from me!
Give me some pressure fire!
I did.
Marlo, get on that machine gun!
I saw the 6-page instruction manual.
Yeah.
And I studied that for like 2 hours.
Dude, the gold edition comes with the poster.
Oh shit.
Look at this, you could probably frame it.
Yeah, that's sturdy.
But really, I don't know, let's talk about the game, not so much the poster. Like, what do you want to say about the game?
I'm too turned on right now. I can't possibly talk about the game. Battlefield, Bad Company, it's, the hook is like the destructibility or whatever. It's a lot of games claim it. This one sort of delivers on it.
It delivers on the destructibility, like, to a pretty good extent. I mean, much more so than like a Gears of War or something, and the only comparison that it wouldn't do well by is Crisis. Certain parts of the environment are marked, or a tree, you hit it and they swap out like the standing tree for a broken tree, whereas in Crisis it's like the building is composed entirely of the same materials that get thrown by the physics of an explosion. The trees will break exactly where you hit them or something. I mean, we're talking about technical stuff, it doesn't matter, but so outside of that example, I think it's really just phenomenal in Bad Company. And in multiplayer, it makes it such a fantastic game. I mean, when you see a bunch of people run in a house and you're in a tank, you just blow the wall off and then try to shoot them as they're running upstairs, and then you blow that wall off, and then you just keep doing it, and then they eventually jump out the other side of the building.
I know for me, it took me a while to get used to when I started playing it. It took me a while to get used to the fact you can pretty much destroy anything, because we are used to just having, like, if this wall glows blue, you can blow it up and walk through or whatever.
With the real limits of the destructibility, the only case that ever matters is that you can never destroy a building entirely. There's like certain, foundation studs that
it
aren't
can only
going
get so broken out, and then
yeah,
it won't go anymore.
But that doesn't even matter. Like, I mean, when you play, like, none of that stuff's gonna be on anyone's mind. When this game was first announced, the big emphasis was on that it was a single-player game.
Stay low.
Multiple hostiles up ahead. I got him! Squad, push out!
The single player is good. It would be a disservice to say it's not good. It's really good. It's just, you know, when you get through the first level, you blow up your first building, you fix the vehicles, you're driving around with your squad and everything, and you kind of hope it evolves from there. And I felt like it just never really did anything.
It just kind of keeps going over and over with the same, you know, objective is to go to this point or go to that point.
Yeah.
Bravo 1 Charlie, this is Mike 1 Juliet. We're seeing a lot of enemy movement in your area. Do you have a visual?
Machine gun in the tree line!
Affirmative. Supply trucks in support. Over.
I hear you. Hang tight for a while. Out.
I mean, they did do something in the single player with putting the story in, and I mean, some people wanted to hear about that, but I really don't know what to say because I just, like, it was kind of like a comedy relief for me, and that was about it.
I'm a huge Kelly's Heroes fan, so when originally I heard the story, I thought that's the tack they were going to take with it, instead of making it like the Dirty Dozen meets like Dumb and Dumber.
A new guy trying to smell like a brand new toy. Yeah, I'll give you 3 to 2. He's dead by Friday.
Sarge, you can ride with us. New guy.
New guy. Okay.
I wanted them to be malcontents and criminals, but with like a hard, cynical, like sort of funny edge to it.
It's a mass market story. It's like, how do you make this as unobjectionable to every person that could possibly walk into Walmart and accidentally buy this? And the result is that it's really bland, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, there's really like tame jokes. There's, you know, tepid plot twist. I mean, and it's like, it's not really bad. It never pissed me off, like, oh God, but it was
I would
just...
usually have a smirk on my face.
I never really felt like
yeah.
talking about it because I just was largely indifferent to it, you know?
I feel the same way you do.
My biggest problem, I'm curious to see if you had it, if it was just really, you know, personal or what, but on the normal standard difficulty setting, and it just gets worse in the higher ones, the AI are unerring in their aim, and they're totally omniscient. They know where you're at, and they'll always hit you.
Right. The AI sees you through walls, hears you, and of course they're like deadly accurate every time.
Yeah. So it's wasted potential that way.
The way AI really does this, but it never comes close to even approaching what a good human player will do in multiplayer, like using the destructibility and like using it for tactical purposes, flanking, using it for distracting you. Maybe blow up a wall right next to you, which of course is gonna like phase you for a little bit, and then have his buddy come up from behind you or something like that.
Right.
But you never get that experience in single player, and you definitely do get it in multiplayer.
Заряд установлен. Разойдитесь.
First aid.
Every, you know, shooter like this has this problem of how do you decide player health and player death, you know? I mean, you're gonna have a health bar, or Halo's got the great solution that was popularized where you can just go and wait. But here their solution is to give you a health pack, of course, you know, I mean like a stim pack, and you stick yourself with it.
Yeah, it's in the form of like Nicolas Cage from The Rock shoving a needle right into his heart, and somehow that's cool. That doesn't hurt you at all. You can do it over and over and over again.
That's really what the game, it became so repetitive, like this like sad drug addict, because the enemies hit you guaranteed. Every time that you will appear, you will get hit. So it's like, fire half your clip, reload, stick yourself. Do that over and over with every time, because if you came across an APC or a tank, you know, you did want to be prepared. You don't want to have like, you know, 2/3 of your health left in case you get hit with a rocket or some shit. Because it's also dumb to just run over the corpse of every body, of everyone you killed, to pick up the health pack, the old Medal of Honor standard, you know, which is why I'm glad people have gotten away from that. But it's like, this just doesn't work for me either. And it's not because the pack is a bad idea, but it's because of that fucking AI.
Spotted one of the enemy snipers. Over.
It's great to use the vehicles and artillery as well. They got to be more than like an extra set of like, an extra health bar. And in here, again, because of that destructibility, because of the effects and the smoke and everything, they really are phenomenal. You know, when I was playing this game, I felt like really good at it. I felt accomplished because all the traditional Battlefield stunts work the same. I would, you know, go up around the side of the map in a Jeep, get in their base, basically sabotage everything I can, get in a tank, kill a bunch of guys, and then work the respawn clock so that, you know, they're gonna come in looking for me in the tank, but at this point I'm now in an APC over here, get in their arty, shell their own guys, then put a mine down on that and just keep going around and they have this big plan with the unlockable weapons and stuff.
Right.
Something quick about that is I'm happy that, I mean, I played with every single thing unlocked for all my multiplayer sessions, and I didn't find any real disparity between the quality of them, more in just their feel. I mean, it's not like you get this weapon and that was it. It was obvious that you want this weapon, and whatever you start with it sucks, you know.
Of course, that is one of those things that you don't necessarily know for sure until the game's been out in the wild for a while.
I played a lot on EA's testers though.
Yeah.
And they're like some ruthless people. Like there's like two kinds of testers. There's the ones where the PR people tell them like, make everyone feel like they're a champion, you know, go easy on them, or like just tell them like, oh my god, I can't believe you did that, that was amazing. And then there's the ones that are like, dude, these fucking video game journalists think they know how to play games. I'm gonna show you how to play a fucking game. Like if something's cheap, you'll know it.
We both liked it. We both thought it was good.
I think it's really good.
Yeah.
I think it's.
And I
like B, just like I gave it a B review, and that's like, dude, this is a fucking rad game.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome. It's not like, like going crazy, you know. This is my goddamn mind over it. But
how can you give it a B with this amazing poster? I mean,
smell that, man.
that smells like straight up class.